right, there we go. Good morning online. I'm gonna turn those cameras on. Misha, Rodney. Good morning, everybody. Somebody say good morning. Huh? I don't hear you. Can you? Let's just make sure our illustrious guest is on the call. The filter.
Yes.
All right, so we have a treat. Oh, everybody. I can't tell Mr. Gove to be quiet. He's everybody else can talk, but not Mr. Gove. All right. So we have a jam-packed morning for you today. We are just waiting for the guest speaker to hop on. Just so we're clear, what's going to take place is Stacey Peterson. She did the business plan. Lexi's got like an excited face. She did the business planning clinic, and so she's going to hop on just for us, just for this group, and do a follow-up check-in to see how you're doing, answer any questions you may have. Because she brought up a lot of great things that we should be doing, but how many of us are actually doing them? And if you are, what are some roadblocks you're running into? There she is, Miss Stacey Peterson. The floor is yours. I'll make you co-host. And then love the background. All right.
Perfect.
We're ready. So what did you want to do the check-in on? Any topics or?
All right. Yeah. So how many of you, after you were at the business planning seminar, or maybe you watched the recording, how many of you kind of went back and like solidified some of your plans and your numbers? And it's okay if you didn't, but if you did, can you just like either give me a thumbs up in the chat or raise your hand or. Okay. So normal real estate room, right? We're all like really excited about our plans, and then we kind of don't know what to do with them, right? We're like, hey, Drew did his homework. So Drew, good job, Drew. You get the gold star today. But it's normal to sort of feel overwhelmed after we leave somewhere, and we're like, oh man, this was really great. I love it. I'm excited. And then it's like, boom, the world hits us, and everything's flying off the handles. So as you are working through your plan, because you need some kind of plan, but you don't have to fill out the booklet I gave you, but you can use it as prompts. There's probably something you remember from the training that you're like, I need to go deep on this. Maybe it's marketing. Maybe it's figuring out my numbers. Maybe it's reverse engineering my goals. Like I'm great at throwing a goal out there, and then I have no idea how I'm going to hit it. So what I would encourage you to do is to take that plan, circle a couple things you're going to commit to finishing on it, and then get it in like a piece of paper you're going to look at, get it in a journal, get it in a notebook, whatever it is, but somewhere that you're going to reference again often. Because as a lot of times what for agents, it isn't that we're bad at planning. We're probably pretty good at planning. Our brain is like planning stuff all day long, right? We're like, oh my gosh, this weekend I got to do open house. I got to show those houses. Oh crap, I forgot to send that email. Oh, I got to order those signs. Oh geez, I thought I was going to bring cookies to the holiday party. Well, I guess I'll just have them delivered. I don't know. So we're planning for things all the time. But what we don't really know how to do a lot of times well is to manage those time, right? So instead of giving you this big speech about, get your business planning done, there's the whole sentence I'm going to say about it. Let's talk a little bit about how do we actually achieve any of the plans that we're making or any of the goals that we're making. And so I made some notes. Let me grab them. I really wanted to talk to you today just about how to set yourself up for success in the next season. So the next season might be the next quarter, the next season might be 2 quarters from now. You know, maybe your life is just really busy and you don't have time to concentrate on what matters most to you. You have to, you know, do all these other things. We're going to talk about how to set yourself up for success. And it's probably things you've heard before, but maybe you're not really thinking that matters when it comes to making plans. So the first one, and this is one of my favorites, but it's like, is your environment tailored to your success? So when you are in an office or at home or working in your car all the time, is your environment conducive to the person that you are or want to be? So like my background is 100% fake. You can kind of see it sometimes, like it'll, you know, highlight my head or something. But what do I do 9 times out of 10? I'm not in a car showing houses anymore. I'm like on Zoom. So what environment do I see all the time? This background. So for me, I'm very like, I have to have things look a certain way. I like things to look a certain way. So this background makes me happy. I run an oiler, like essential oils over here on blends that I like. I have like 3 blends saved. And so I consistently do that because I need it to smell a certain way. My desk has 1 notebook on it, 1 book, my water bottle, my coffee. There's nothing else on my desk. I cannot have visual distractions. In front of me is like a wall with a clock, and then I have windows. So for me, whether I'm at home, at an office, my environment has to be pretty minimal, but pretty, because then I can think, I can move things forward. So what does your environment need to look like? If it's your car and it stinks like gym socks and it's like dirty and, you know, like, figure out how you're going to do that. I actually have my son wash. We can drive. We talked about this at the thing, but we can drive at 14 in South Dakota. He's 15. He takes my car every Sunday, gets gas, gets it washed and vacuumed. Like I have the, you know, membership, and he thinks it's fun, you know, so I'm going to make him do it as long as he thinks it's fun. But my car is clean, you know, all the time. And it matters to me. So whatever environment you're in or trying to be in, maybe you're a person that wants a whole bunch of books around. Maybe you're a person that goes to different rooms all the time. You know, just make it work for you. Also, when you're thinking about your environment, are you a person that needs to be in the sun? Are you a person that needs some shade? Do you like things dark? There was a girl on my team that she always shut the light off in her office and just have like the computer screen. Sometimes a lamp. She could not stand bright lights around her all the time. So what kind of environment do you need? Okay, second, what does your calendar need to look like in order for you to have success? So our schedules are diverse. Everybody's is different. Some of us need to see a calendar with lots and lots of open spaces. Some of us need to see a calendar that's completely scheduled out. Like work out, get ready, eat breakfast, you know, take kids to school, whatever all the things are, my morning routines. Some of us need that open, and our morning routines either are a habit or we're learning them, and we only want certain appointments on our calendar. So what is it that your calendar needs to look like? So for instance, for me, if there are too many appointments on my calendar, whether some of them are like appointments in person and some of them are like blocks of focus, it makes me immediately think, how can I get out of my day? Like I just was thrown into jail and I'm like, how can I get out of here? I think I don't feel good. I better cancel everything. Like, it's just my natural response. It's kind of weird. So for me, I do have a ideal calendar, but it's one I can click on and off on my Google Calendar. So only my appointments are on my main calendar. And that way, like, my head doesn't kind of explode. So if right now you're in the season of, maybe you work somewhere else part-time, you do real estate part-time, you're trying to run a marathon, your kids are in all these club activities, you are trying to eat healthy, so you're like going to the grocery store, all these different things, and you like that type of calendar, great. If you don't, but you still need to get a lot of those things done, see what you can automate. have groceries delivered, have the list saved already. Google Calendar, make sure you write all the information that you need at each appointment. So let's say the appointment was a project block. Like if I opened your calendar and clicked that project block, would I know exactly how to get going? I would be like, okay, today I'm writing, an offer, and I'm calling the lender, and I'm sending everything to the contract to close admin, like that's my block, but I know exactly what to do. Just make sure that your calendar reflects how you need to set yourself up for success. The third one is energy cycles. So all of us have great energy cycles, times when we feel good and we're like excited about doing something. And then there's another part of the day where we're like so unmotivated to do anything. So figure out what your energy cycles are. And this is like, let's say one of your best times to do, and this is what when you're going to do like focus work that moves you forward. Okay. So in this focus block, maybe it's from, call it 10 to noon. Okay. It could be 1 hour. You don't want it more than 4 hours, because over 300,000 people were surveyed. And when they looked at the top executives, to the students, to everybody, nobody could do really hard and creative and non-distracted work for more than 4 hours. Like, we're just not made to do it. Even if you look at countries that, forage and have to kill things to eat it, same thing. They're spending a certain amount of time doing that, and then they're done. So don't require yourself to have 8.5 hours every single day of back to back to back to back to back, and feel, in 3 months you're burnt out and you're like, why am I burnt out? Because you burned it at both ends, right? You are crispy. So you've got to start over and get that, get that back on track. So if your energy cycle is from 10 to 12, let's say, make sure that's some great work that you need to do in order to move you forward. So as realtors, right, we've got lots of things that come into our day. It's not always going to look perfect, but when you know that block and you try not to schedule things then that, are not your favorite work, then you're going to have more chances of getting the most important stuff done. Sorry, my alarm's going off. Okay. The next one, what are we on? 4? Pace of diminishing returns. So how many of us I actually heard someone say, Gary Keller said this. I wasn't ever KW, so I'm not sure, but basically that if you work, let's say you come into the office and you're showing houses and you're doing all the things, let's call it 8 to 5. Okay. And then you're like, oh crap, I have all this stuff to do. I'm going to come in Saturday morning. Okay. But really, maybe you didn't manage your time super awesome, right? Monday through Friday. So that's the case of diminishing return, because now you're actually cheating your time. So he said it was cheating when you're trying to work more hours because you're not really managing the hours you have. That's cheating. I call it diminishing return. How many of you have ever woken up at like 4:30 and you're like, oh my gosh, I got to get this stuff done, and you're like getting it all done because your day is going to start at 6 and it's slammed, right? Let's just say it was writing a purchase agreement, right? Which all of us could probably do in our sleep, right? But because you got up at 4, now for some reason, a 30-minute task takes you like 2.5 hours because you're like, nodding in and out of consciousness. You're tired. You're like, oh my gosh, I got to get my coffee. I'll feel better in 10 minutes. I got to start the laundry. So it's the case of diminishing return, where if you would have just scheduled that time at a normal time when normal people do it, or, planned for that, you wouldn't have to spend 2 to 3 times the amount of effort and time and energy on that task. And we've all done it. We all will continue to do it. We're not looking for perfection, but what we're looking for is not doing that consistently, not letting ourselves off the hook of wasting time. When we're at work, we're thinking about something else. And when we're doing something else, we're thinking about work. Try to make your time work better for you. Okay. And then the last one, and this one I think is most important. So remember when I said, you can have your day set up however, let's just say, you put all the perfect plans in place and now tomorrow it's Friday and it's like holiday time. You got to get like presents ordered, Amazon's delayed again. You got to get groceries, you don't want to buy Christmas cookies, but you're kind of hungry for them. And then bam, like 4 people want to see a house. They're not pre-approved. They think they can buy a house for 400,000 and they want to look at 600,000 and your day is just like, and you're like, you get up in the morning and you look at your calendar and you're like, oh gosh, if Janet wants to see another house, I think my head's going to explode, right? So the most important thing I could tell you is to start your day joyfully. So when you're having a bad day, everybody around you knows, right? It's on your face, whether you want to or not. It's how you respond. It's how you write an email. And is it anyone's fault that your day looks like that? Truly, right? Do we control the appointments we take? Do we control how we work with clients? You bet we do, right? If Janet's expectations are way out of whack, that's on you. Either you're choosing to work with her or you're going to choose to have a better discussion with her. So start your day joyfully. Find the good in it. Maybe the good is you're referring it to someone else. You're like, you know what? I don't need this whole commission. You take it. Janet's great. But maybe it's that you just have to come with this sort of different attitude and take a breath, take a beat, and you'll get through it. And tomorrow's going to be just fine, right? So that's what I wanted to tell you about setting yourself up for success. I think it can really make or break any plans you're setting. Going to make or break how you look at the market, right? I've had probably 6 calls in the last 4 days about realtors being really scared because of what they're hearing from everyone, right? The market's crashing. Oh my gosh, it's slowing down. Rates are getting too high. All my buyers are sitting, all my listings are sitting. Like, what am I going to do? And I get it. I get it. It is scary, but you have to find the good in what you do. So what can you control? You can control your activities. You can control your mindset. You can control, input in, input out. You can control the message for your clients. So maybe you have to double down and do a lot more communicating to them, which in turn you're communicating to yourself. And then believe in your ability to figure it out, right? Everything's figure outable. Get your expenses in line. If you're kind of spending because you didn't really have to watch it, maybe now it's time to get everything in line. Make sure you're not overspending in your business or personally, and just take a breath. Dive into the resources that you have. You have tons and tons and tons of free resources to make sure that you can weather any kind of storm. So that is all I really wanted to kind of give you guys for a little pep talk or a little, beginning of our meeting. Is there any questions that you have for me or anything that I can do to help you?
Go ahead, Manu. Manu, what do you got?
First of all, I love your glasses. Another thing is, I like how you figure out, the business plan, how many houses you need to sell to make a certain amount of money. But one thing I was stuck on, like how many people you actually have to meet to get to that number.
Okay, such a good question. So I'm just going to give you like industry averages because it's, the easiest. But the more you track your appointments and calls and everything, you'll get your exact numbers. And then next year when you go to do it, you'll know exactly. But generally, you're going to have to have 125 numbers, okay, to talk to 25 people, to set 5 appointments, to sign 4 people up, to get 3 under contract, to have 1 to 2 close.
Can you say that again, please?
Yes. 125, call it people, right? 125 numbers,
Contacts?
people. Yeah. But just make sure that you call the number, then the next one, 25, like meaningful conversations.
But it's
I
120.
called contacts the first time. So 125 contacts to 25 meaningful conversations, to 5 appointments set, to 4 appointments met, to 3 signed under contract, right? To 1 to 2 closings. Oh, nice. Yes.
Can I
Yeah.
clarify that one more time? So you got 125 people in your database. You're going to try calling all 125. You're going to be successful in reaching 25. Is that what you mean from there? And then go down the line?
Yeah. Yep. 25 like meaningful conversations, meaning these people are ready to talk about real estate. You know, you could have, you know, it also depends. That's a good point of your lead source. If it's like all sphere, you know, and you have a really healthy sphere, and this is like sphere referral past clients, your numbers might be more, but these are like averages of all kinds of lead types.
So this applies to either the cold calling or the door knocking.
Yes.
If you knock 125 doors, you might be able to talk to 25 people.
Yeah. Yep.
And
Yeah.
Stacy, would you think that those numbers are going to be being held, you know, as the standard moving forward with the declining market?
That's a good question. You know, these were also similar numbers to my team. And so we started our team in 2010, and we didn't really hit as big of a recession until end of 2009. So it was a challenging market right then. And these were the numbers as well. So I would say it's going to hold pretty darn true.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. And I would say one thing to everybody to echo your number 5, right? Starting the day joyfully, right? Everyone, you know, I always try to do, I try to remain consistent, obviously days that I don't, but starting the days with affirmation and gratitudes, you know, just to start off the day with being thankful, right?
Yeah.
You know, when everything's flying off the shelves and, you know, it's chaos to try and keep up with the amount of business that you have, it's easy to, everything's good, right? And then all of a sudden,
Sure.
if it's, you know, you got a lot of time on your hands, right? You know, just try and make sure to stay in front of yourselves and in front of your own mind and keep joy in front of you.
Yeah, that's such a good point too about like affirmations. And you know, I was talking about too about you writing your goals somewhere at least so you can see them. I use this journal where the first 5 things I write are 5 things I'm thankful for, and then the next 10 are dreams I made happen. And they haven't happened yet, but I write them as if. And I got this from Rachel Hollis, who had kind of like this big following, and then I don't know what her following is anymore, but it was like she wrote a book called Girl Wash Your Face and Girl Stop Apologizing, and she kind of taught me this, and I still do it. I really like it, but starting off with that gratitude piece and then, you know, jumping into, hey, remember these were the things that you wanted. So sometimes we forget we're in the season of what we prayed for.
Right? Isn't that like a vision board? And isn't it interesting the things that you put up there and you see all the time? All of a sudden you're like, oh, that came true.
I know. Exactly. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, Stacy, if I could kind of tag in with what Drew and you were just talking about, I think with the changing market question is as interest rates change up or down, that's going to affect affordability. So I think if you're keeping good notes on your database or your clients on where their income is or where their equity or assets is, and highlight those for your contacts, your rate for number of success will go up. Meaning, like if you're calling people that are making, you know, under amount of money to qualify for the average home in the area or your target farm area, you're not going to have the success as rates go up. As rates went down to like free money at 2 and 3%, everybody qualified, right? But now we're up in the 6 range, hopefully moving to the 5 range. And that makes everybody that much more affordable. So if you're working with a lender, you could work out a sort of payment matrix with house prices. So then you could go from there and with the lender to say, okay, they need to have this much income, start kind of tie that all together with your database to make sure you're targeting those people to increase that success.
Good point. Anya.
Yeah, good one. So important too, right? Like our database is really our paycheck. So if your database is full of notes and you know everything about them and you're keeping in contact with them, your paycheck's going to reflect that. If the database that you have is just some names and you're kind of scared about reaching out, or you're like, I don't know if they're going to buy or sell, they may not either. They're looking for you, right? They're looking for you to be that professional. Let them know the ways you can work with them. Do you think that most people understand that we could refer them to, or their friends or their family to another agent somewhere else? No, they don't. They probably don't even think about it. They're like, oh, geez, you can refer someone? Like, okay. Or
My mom all the
hey,
time and she still doesn't know.
yeah. Yeah, here's a good example from my parents. They live in Arizona in the winter because I'm in South Dakota, so it's super cold here. And I referred them to an agent. It didn't really work out. So my dad was like, can you refer us to someone else? And I was like, nah, just find a realtor. Like, it's fine. And I thought, they're going to be a pain in the butt, or they probably won't buy. They're buying their third house right now in
Wow.
2 years because they bought some investments there.
Wow.
So
Well,
I
hey,
probably should have referred.
Stacey, I know we only got a couple minutes left with you. You have a unique perspective because you talk with people all over the country, travel all over the country, you coach people all over the place. Like, what are you anticipating? How are you planning your business, and how are other agents planning their business for 2023?
Yeah, I think it's 100% back to basics. So it's making those calls, doing open houses, calling expireds, reaching out to FSBOs, figuring out what your marketing pillars are. You should only have a couple that you're going super deep on, right? How can you show that you are the expert in the market? People listen to the loudest noise. Are you the loudest noise? Is your competitor the loudest noise? Are you letting them know about opportunities? Sometimes we get complacent and lazy, and I'm the same way. I am the same way. But like, what if you made a list of your top clients? Like, these are the people that you loved working with. We talked about ideal client. And what if you had, call it 40 of those, and you made it your job to connect with them every month? Do you think your business would look different? Maybe you're talking to them about, hey, how's it going? Oh my gosh, I saw, Cohen, he's a golfer now. How cool. I saw your daughter, Vivian, she's in volleyball. How great. Hey, is there anything I can do for you? You guys doing any projects, remodeling? Can I help you with, vendor list? What can I do for you? So just keep in mind to go back to the basics and make people that you work with feel like they are the most important person, and they will be your biggest fan, telling everybody about you. And that's really going to make a difference in your business. Those basics and taking care of the people that took care of you. Instead of trying to spend so much money generating leads, like, work with the leads that you've had, the people that you've worked with, the people they know, and you'll weather all of, whatever's coming.
Awesome stuff. And it's super profitable. You didn't pay for those leads. They're friendships, or you already paid for them and turned them into a friend, right? So,
yeah. And if you're low on those, get out and network. That's part of it. You got to meet new people. You got to add people to your database. You are in the people business. You just happen to be selling real estate. You're in the people business.
yep, absolutely. All right. So I don't want to take advantage of your time. Do we have time for one more question, or do you have to?
You bet.
All right, Hermes, last question.
How far do you have to go in expireds when you're trying to reach expireds? Because I once had called a listing, and a realtor who had 30 years of experience came, just screamed at me. I was in the business for 30 years, and this is not how we do that. But then again, some results may vary, but general rule, how far do we have to go in expireds when we call back?
Like how many times do you have to call them back to get the listing?
No, how far, the months from the date of expiration to the month you start?
Oh, how long should you call them? So like they didn't relist?
Yeah, for a realist.
Yeah, so I would connect with expireds, as soon as they expire. And then I'm trying to communicate with them so I understand what their timeline is. And then I, call them back accordingly. So if someone says they're not ready to sell for another 6 months, I'm calling them in 3, right? I'm always cutting it in half. And then I'm making sure that they're getting items of value from me, like market reports. They if I'm in their neighborhood, I'm giving them a quick call again. I'm like, hey, I'm over here right now. Would you happen to have 10 minutes to meet up? I'd love to see your house. I know you're not ready, but I've got a great buyer pool. And maybe some of those people would be interested in your house when we're ready to list it. Is 6 months still your timeline? So I'm always trying to connect with them to offer some value and not just list with me. I'm the best. Look at me. I sell a ton of houses. They don't care. They're like, I had a realtor and I didn't like it. So you got to show them how you're different and how, show people how you're going to work for them, even when they're not here yet. Show people what it's like to be at this brokerage when they're not here yet. Show people that are considering real estate what type of agent you are, right? You're just giving everybody an inside look. Let them see, and then they'll trust you.
Does
Thank
that
you.
help? Awesome. Good question, Casey.
Yeah, really good questions.
Any questions online? Feel free to chime in. We got a heavy hitter on the phone. We don't want to not ask your questions.
Cigars are in the budget, Johnny.
Okay. Cigars are in the budget, and I just need to find a place that will let me work. The office is. I've gotten in trouble for that.
Tom's got a question.
Yes.
Tom, what's your question?
I've got a question, Stacy. So glad you're online today. Loved your original business planning workshop. My question is regarding to. It seems like you're hitting everything: door knocking, CRM database, networking, all that stuff. How do you manage your time, which is probably the most important? You hit it on it earlier when Gary Keller's quote, you work extra time, you get up early because you didn't manage your time. How do you fit it all in? And especially with social media, which I try to limit myself, but it just seems like every time I do, I'm going to connect with this agent. I'm going to look up this person online. And it just sucks me in. And then 30 minutes go, crap, I haven't even, done what I'm supposed to do. That just seems to me the biggest time management, time blocking. It's so important. And it just seems to be the area that I just fall on my face. Is there any tips you can give me?
Well, I am perfect. So let me definitely tell you all my wisdom. No, I'm just kidding. So one
Johnny,
thing,
the perfect people on here, so I don't doubt it.
yeah, right. No. One thing is batching, right? So if you're on social, you're batch engaging, right? Don't just like always get caught in the scroll. What's the purpose you want to go on for? Batch it. When you have your most important projects to get done, batch the work. If you need to be on your computer to email, maybe you do your texting mostly from the computer, like if you're in that time block, and then obviously you're going to text from your phone, but whatever it is, batch it. So, okay, I'm on the computer. Here are the 4 things in this block that require my computer. Okay, I have to set up a, drip campaign. I have to, write an offer. I have to pull some neighborhood comps, whatever. It requires my computer, and I'm going to return emails. That's my block. So the more you can batch similar type tasks, you're going to realize, holy cow, I didn't even think I would have this much time. Because also, this was another study done, but guess how many times the average person switched tasks a day?
15.
50.
Probably 100.
It's 300 times.
Wow.
Can you believe it? I was like, what? I looked up the study because I was like, I don't believe it, but it's true. But if you think about it, like right now on my computer, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 tabs open. Okay. There, you know, I've got Zoom in front of me, my phone's down here, all notifications are off, but still my watch went off, right? It's not supposed to. So it's like somebody just drove by. So think like every one of those takes your brain time to come back. And then we wonder like, why am I not getting things done, right? Secondly, here's my second tip to that. Create a list that's doable. Like how many of you love to just suck at the day? Nobody, right? Like if your to-do list has 74 things on there, are you going to win? It's like telling your kid, you know, who's in 6th grade, hey, you better get that college level biology and chemistry homework done like right now in this next hour, and then go to school and then go to practice. You know, you wouldn't do that. You wouldn't set them up to fail. They give them 6th grade work, right? So don't set yourself up to fail. What are the couple important things? Like when you're planning your day, what are your couple batch times of things that you have to get done? And I'm not talking 75, I'm talking like 2, 3 batch times. Then what kind of appointments do you have? And then what are the couple things that you have to get done? And if you have too many, maybe you're saying yes to too many things, right? Be a professional disappointer. Like start saying no. If it isn't a hell yes, it's a no. So you gotta like figure out what's important, because if you don't, it'll tell you what's important. It's like you've all seen this, right? Where that teacher took the jar and said to his students, hey, I'm gonna put in these big rocks. Okay, is the jar full? And they're like, yeah. And then he pours in the pebbles and it fits all around. He's like, okay, is the jar full? And they're like, yeah. And he's like, all right. So he pours in the sand. He's like, is the jar full? And they're like, yeah. He's like, all right, let me show you this part. Dumps it all out, right? Grabs a new jar. Now he pours in all the sand and it goes all the way to the top. And then he gets in like 2 maybe big rocks and 1 pebble. And he's like, this is what happens with your time. If you let all the dust and crap get in your way, your jar is full and you're only getting maybe 2 things done. And those were the most important. So live your life with the big rocks first, then the pebbles, then the sand, and you get the same amount of you get more success, but the same amount of stuff, right? The same amount of sand fit in there. So all this minutia, it's gonna fit, but get the big stuff done first.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's solid. I typically don't like chiming in because you always like the speakers that we have are just world class, including you, Stacy. But I do want to touch on one brief thing for everybody that's listening online and in the room. When you pick those rocks, like it's called closing the loop. Learn this from Grant Cardone. So you got to close the loop. So if you are sitting down, like Tom, you mentioned, to message somebody on Facebook, close the loop. Message them on Facebook and get off. If you're trying to do cold calling, if you're trying to do door knocking, don't be texting, don't be getting on social media, close the loop and then move on. Because what happens is you have a bunch of unfinished tasks that pile up and compound over time. So if you're struggling with seeing progress in your day and in your business, make sure you're closing the loop on the thing that you start, and only start it if you're going to commit to closing it. Because if you start a whole bunch of things, then you're not going to finish any of them. Is that helpful for you, Tom?
That was good.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. Sorry, I had to unmute myself.
No,
That's super helpful. That is that's a mind management thing that I just tell myself, okay, I'm gonna close the loop, I'm gonna do this and then get off. Because I'm like squirrel, a squirrel, squirrel, feed, or someone that I love. Oh my gosh, Johnny just did this, or someone just did that, and it just becomes a tar baby of time sucking vortex that time can get away so fast because it's something you're interested in. Oh, and I need to do this, but it's a lower priority than what I'm doing right now. So that's huge.
Yeah.
Thank you, Johnny. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Good stuff.
That was definitely a good one, Johnny.
Thanks. All right. So what other questions do we have? How much time do we have left with you, Stacy?
I can give you like 4 more minutes. I'll
4
just go a
more
little
minutes.
late.
Okay. Thank you so much. So just to recap, so we're starting the day joyfully. Let's do this. Everybody take 60 seconds and just write down how many transactions you want to do in a year. This is 5 cents. How much money you want to make? Money or transactions? Online, go ahead, write down how many transactions. Now, you don't have to share it, but knowing that you need at least 25 conversations to get 2 closings, let's say 75 conversations a closing. Let's just figure out what that looks like for you. So let's go around. No, so who wants to share? You don't have to, but who wants to share what they're going to do to hit those closings? Because everybody in this room has different strengths, different things. And then we will ask Stacy any tips on how you can accomplish that goal. So is my beautiful wife in here, my ex-girlfriend? Ex-girlfriend. What is it? Well, how many transactions would you like to close next year?
40 personally.
40 personally? And so how would you like to close that? Like, where do you want your business to come from? Referrals?
Yeah.
Okay. So for 40, what's 40 times 75? Somebody who's good at math.
Just do 3,000.
3,000. So divide 3,000 by 48.
62.
62 conversations a week. And let's divide that by 5.
Well, a little more
A little more?
than 12.
I was gonna say 5 days a week.
Yeah. 12 a day.
12.5.
Oh, you did the math, Mr. Lender over there. I was like, all right, so Valerie basically needs to have 5 contacts, 5 conversations a day, right, in order to hit her goal. Who else has a something they want to share online? Drew, Tom, can I see people that have Maria? What are some goals? Because I think this is helpful because this is real life. This isn't like, what are you going to do? You can leave this room with a business plan.
I want 60.
Drew said 60. So Drew, how do you want to find people? Are you on the cold call, open houses, door knocking, referrals?
So with mine, I'm gonna be doing more of the creative side, right? Doing the wholesale side, turning them into traditional real estate. So it's a twofer, right? So every one of mine that I help one of my investors buy, I get the listing on the back end. Right?
Love that.
So I've created a way of being able to double my results by minimizing my input.
Right. So that means you only need half the amount. So let's just run it with, if you're double ending them, if you're getting 2 deals for one, then that's 30 transactions. And then how many conversations would you need if it's 75 dials per transaction?
Who's got the numbers on that? What was the numbers that I need?
Sorry, guys, I know I'm running with the numbers. Numbers are boring.
Hey,
75
you guys,
times
don't be bored with these numbers. This is business.
Are we doing this? Are we doing this right, Stacy? Is this making my
It's 2250.
2250?
So it's 9 conversations. Because if we do it by 30, because he's going to take, for every listing he gets, he's getting a second. So his would be 9 conversations a day.
There you go. Steve, what do you got?
So I have a quick question in regard to doing these stats. Isn't it important to know and understand and to include your closing ratio?
Yeah.
Which we did.
Yeah.
The 25, 5, 4, 3 to 1 to 2 closings. So if you know your numbers, use your numbers. But if you don't, then these are good,
Okay, that's
like industry averages. Yeah.
okay, cool. Thank you.
Yeah.
And also
Yes, good question.
keep in mind, guys, especially for newer people, okay, your business is never going to be hurt by doing extra.
Yeah.
Right? So based off of what Stacey's saying is this is industry average, right? Meaning so that there's going to be some of us that I'm going to have a lot better ratio than someone that's brand new.
Okay.
So if you were to sit there and double these numbers, okay, especially if you have time on your side, right? You can always go for more.
Awesome.
Yeah, for sure.
100%. Be
All right.
extra. All right.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Was this good? If you like it, just take a round of applause.
Yes.
Thank you. It was fun seeing you guys again. I wish you all the best in 2023 and hopefully I'll see you around.
All right.
Bye,
Bye, Stacy.
Bye. See ya.
Everybody,
so
stay on. Just because Stacy's busy, she's hopping off, but we have a little bit more. So
Made for more.
We got made for more, made for more. All right. So with that, we didn't get to do our tell me something good. Is there any pressing tell me something good that you just are like, hey, I'm winning with this. Everybody needs to know about this. Ooh, Alicia, go ahead, stand up so we can see you.
Okay, I know.
Yeah. There we go. All right, Barry, what you got?
Just closed a multifamily and picked up the management of that same multifamily at the same.
Dude, that's all right.
Johnny.
But
I got listing went live today. First property to 443 down on Fruit Ridge Road. It's an acre. And it's going for 664.9.
How long did it take you to get that?
40 years. See. Since January. Wow.
awesome. All right, so we do have a couple of housekeeping things. Let me do this really quick, share my screen. So coming up in January, if you haven't gotten your expensive tickets already, make sure you do, because you want to make sure that you are in this room. On Thursday, January 26th, we have a free training taking place at PCAR, and it's going to be how to crush internet lead generation. So if you're wanting to learn more about that, and this is actually specifically tailored also to KV Core. So if you're with EXP, we have access to KV Core. We're going to be teaching you tips and tricks on how to use a system that you are already provided with on how to generate more business. So make sure you go and register there on Eventbrite. And then next week, we have our very own Eric Lawhome going to be speaking on how to generate unlimited leads, right? So agents want leads, you want more business. We're trying to deliver on that promise too, that we're going to help you attain those leads with the January class and with Eric speaking next week. And then here's a tell me something good that I wanted to share. Who in this room or online, go ahead, raise your hand, has heard of HomeBot? Raise your hand if you've heard of HomeBot. Okay, so many agents surprisingly don't know about it. And I wanted to just touch on it really quick, and then this will segue into Rodney's market update. But HomeBot is this fantastic tool where you can put your clients in, and you can add up to 500 clients for free. And so if you have a database, if you have a sphere, highly recommend that you get them into HomeBot, because every month it sends out a market report for the sellers and for the buyers. And look at these open rates. This is the last 30 days. 55% open rate on this market update.
Excellent.
And it's free for the first 500.
Oh, wow. How
Yeah.
much is it?
So then it depends, because what you can also do is you can partner with the lender, and then they help with the cost. And so anyways, super cool. And you're like, well, what are the clients getting? So the reason why we're doing this is this guy reached out to us yesterday. His sister unfortunately died, but he was getting her emails and he's like, hey, my sister died. I don't need to know how much I can sell my house for, right? This is somebody this was an online lead that just got added into HomeBot. You know, this could have been somebody in our sphere or in your sphere. Anyways, so let's click on Bobby. So this is the guy actually closed, and you can see he's looking at it. You can see his timeline about what he's doing and what he's looking at. And so what is it that he's looking at? You can see, so it has, you know, our team's information. It shows him the value of his home. He can adjust the value of his home, just all this great information, what his net worth is in the house, what he's paid so far. If he were to refinance, if it was green, it would benefit him to refinance, or he might show him some options. So this is where the lenders get some benefit from this. How much, if he were to pay just a little bit more a month, you can always adjust it. How much would that save him overall? If he rented it out, what it could possibly rent for. If it was a Airbnb, what would it rent for if it was an Airbnb? All these great tools. So you can see why the open rate is phenomenally high, right? And so there's that. And then if you were a buyer, they also show you some cool like stats on the market about like what is, here, let's go to share. And then preview page. Oh gosh, it's gonna do this to me. And so it'll tell them what the market temperature is, and it will give them a lot of information. They have to be signed in as a client. We're just previewing it, but you can see like all this great stuff. on average, here's what people are paying. They have an average of this many bed and bath. They're selling around in this many days. And so anyways, a lot of great stuff. And it's free for your first 500. So just get your first 500 in there and partner with a lender.
So if you get a lead from somebody on HomeBot, is there like a referral fee that HomeBot receives?
Nope.
Nothing.
100% free. Yeah.
Pay per record, like database after the 500.
Right, no, I was just talking about like referral fees for commissions and stuff.
No, so there is no fee if you close, like a referral fee. There's no cost for the client if they're engaging on it. There's no cost to send.
Well,
HomeBot doesn't generate leads.
right, so it's just your own database that
Yeah, you have to upload them in there.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
And sometimes you'll find their values will be a little off,
Yep.
yeah.
but that actually results in a great call too, because your client calls you up, what the hell? And it's like, yeah, you know, let me do it. I'm the one that knows how to do it. And so it winds up with a great conversation even when they're off.
Oh,
Yep.
And you can adjust the value.
Yep.
So he calls me and he's off, then I'll go in and adjust the value.
So with that, Tom, is your hand raised for a question on HomeBot or is it up from previously?
Oh, no, sorry. That was up previously. I'll take it off.
All right, no worries. All right, so with the last couple minutes that we have, I wanted to give Rodney the floor. The lending world is changing. Rodney, what's happening in the wonderful world of loan?
The world of loans is wonderful. Yeah, rates are still strong. Great. We're down about 6 1/4. They bumped up a little bit after last week's meeting, but then they kind of settled back down. We're still kind of watching the holiday sales and jobs. Jobs was the big one that kind of surprised people. Unfortunately, the government wants to see more people unemployed. I know it sounds kind of weird. We're at 3.7. Yeah. We're at 3.7% unemployment and they want it to be around 5%. That's a normal healthy market. Yeah, when then employers don't have to pay extra money, which costs more items, which all affects inflation. So they're trying to keep that under control. But what's really exciting is the loans are being available now currently for the rate loan amount limits that are increasing quite a bit next month in January. Right, so the new conforming loan limit in our marketplace is 729,200. That's significant because I know it's great, right? It's crazy. I see people shaking their head. It's great because now that you don't have to, with a lot of homes, go into the jumbo market, which is much harder to qualify, more money down payment, less money counted towards qualifying. So now you can stay in that conforming loan limit and do loans as little as 3% down. Right? And of course, there's down payment assistance and all that. It still can be, and that's up to 729. The high balance goes up to, and I forgot, I think it's 769 or 793. Didn't remember that one, sorry. But it's, I mean, in our marketplace, that's a great number to be, and you're still in conforming loan limits. Back to kind of tie in this conversation from this morning, qualifying the average price in the Sacramento region, it varies by county a little bit, but 510,000 last month. For the price, right? So if you're taking somebody, back to my comment about affordability, right, into the call conversation to increase success, effectiveness would be, if you're at 510, you're putting 3% down with today's interest rates at 6 1/4, by the way. The monthly payment, PITI, estimated, no HOA, no flood, right? All the disclaimers put in there, is $3,045, right? So roughly you're going to need, with minimal, debt, about $75,000 for that borrower to be approved, right? So if you're talking to someone who's only making 60,000, of course, they could buy a cheaper home, but for the average, so that's what I was talking about, the payment matrix. I could help set one up if you have a certain, price range that you work in with interest rates, so they fluctuate, so you see where the payment is, so you can kind of, and reverse engineer it, so you know who you're talking to can buy this home. Right, or highly successful, not like they're wanting to buy right now, but it increases that success if they were ready. So
if your head's spinning and you're like, oh my gosh, he just said payment matrix, what the heck is that? There's only 7 numbers you need to know, right? Rodney, what are those 7 numbers? What's your phone number?
7 numbers, it's 916-223-2775. That's my cell. You can call me or text me. I'd be happy to set one of those up. I actually got a transaction into escrow last night with that. The buyers just didn't want to go a little bit higher, and we got to sell the credit by doing that. And they saw their payment only change like $20, right? So it does help all the way around, your understanding and the buyers as well.
Awesome. And if anybody wants to set up a HomeBot account with a lender and be tied to you, just give you a call, shoot you a text.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
You'll pay for all of it?
No. CFPB, I said no.
Yeah.
What is free for how many?
500.
First one, you know.
Yeah, so so I'm not paid by HomeBot. There's no affiliate thing here. There's not an affiliate link where you can sign up. This is just something that I've seen our team is starting to win with, and that I've seen a lot of other people win with. That's why we're using it. And so if you're not sure and you're like, I have more than 500, but I don't want to pay for it, then just put 500 in there. Lead with revenue, and if it works for you, add more people in. Don,
Last year, that was 3 sales for me from HomeBot.
3 sales, boom. So see, it works.
It's 25 month. I know it's not that expensive, 25 a month for each.
It's free if you partner with the lender, though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. We need to do the lender, it's more expensive on the lender side. But,
Because they have all the money.
oh, $25 gets you how many contacts?
500. If you don't partner with the lender, it's 500.
But that's, you said it was free.
If you partner with the lender, it's 100% free.
Oh, I see. Okay. 25.
So just call Rodney and it's free.
Yeah.
There you go.
How do you import them from KB4 or do you have to manually input them?
Yeah, so you do have to input them,
Manually?
but not manually. So if, let's say, because we all have, if you're EXP, we all have access to KV Core. Okay, so if you're using KV Core or any CRM, what you can do is you can export your contacts out of that CRM into what's called a CSV file. So you just pull them out, and then you can mass import that CSV file into HomeBot. It will take you 5 minutes.
Can I mention one other quick one?
Sure.
When KB doing it with HomeBots.
In terms of them,
The same thing, right? Sending those market reports and.
there are some generic market reports that can go out, but it's not as robust as HomeBot.
Or not as specific, right? Because
Yeah.
HomeBot's doing their particular home where the other ones are gonna be.
Well, you can set that up in KB4 too. They have a service to set that up. It's just different data. It's the same, but this does more. Like this does the Airbnb, this does, there's more choice.
Well, around the entire platform, it really encourages your clients to put, because it engages them. Yeah, their open rate is always very high, and then you get to the backside of it where they're clicking on, so it is a warmer.
Yeah.
Okay, from all the people that are talking lately, they're telling us, don't be afraid to hit your client 30 different ways. So I, in the past said, well, if I do it over here, I don't want to do it over here. Well, you don't know which one's going to connect with them or which one they're on. Just do it. You know, if your clients are telling you you're spamming them or doing it too much, that's a good.
They'll let you know.
Yeah. What was Drew's comment?
It's free.
To close the deal from it.
It's possible.
Absolutely.
One quick,
Last word, Ronnie.
yeah, how many people are familiar with a home equity conversion mortgage, a reverse mortgage? Right? How many people work with investors? Usually it's about 40% of the sales are investment properties, and I never 40, look, a couple hands going up. I have a unique program which just blows my mind. It's like a reverse mortgage. It's not that, you know, because reverse mortgage is tied to an age for investment properties only. So imagine if you bought it, you could have an investment property, you have them now as well, you could refinance with it, make no payments for 5 years. That is a cash flow. So, yeah, it's amazing. It's great rates. It's a great product.
It's a reverse mortgage product for investors.
For investors only. Yeah, investors only.
What's
That's
the,
why
Yeah,
in that world, man.
what's the catch, Rodney?
There is no catch. It's just an amazing product. And if you're, interested in finding out more, because it'd be a little more than we have time to discuss.
Sure.
It is an amazing, unbelievable product.
Can we set up a Zoom meeting and send a link out to everybody?
Let's do this. Let's just run it on the market.
What's
update.
it called, Rodney?
Can you speak on this one exclusively?
Sure.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's
Awesome.
it called?
I don't know the specific name. It's actually not a reverse mortgage because that is its, name tied to that, but it functions for all intents and purposes, just like it, but it's only for investment properties.
It's a Rodney mortgage. The Rose loan, it's the Rose loan. Just call 916-223-2775 and get your Rose loan today.
The non-reverse mortgage.
And I'm telling you, no credit, you could have been in bankruptcy, you could be in foreclosure at the moment, all that, and you can do this loan. Just like, that's pretty much true for the reverse mortgage too. That's why I kind of tagged it the same thing, but it's only for
All right.
investors.
Don't tell everybody.
All right, awesome. Well, hey, with that, have a fantastic day. Have a wonderful weekend. Thank you for coming. Bye online. Thank you. See you next Thursday.
Thanks, Johnny.
See you, Tom.
Thank you.
See you, Drew. Bye, Claudia.
See you guys. Have a good day.
You too, man.
Yeah, no, it's really.
Bye, Jenna.